Right, so in this video we're going to reassemble the Mod 75, the original Mod 75. Just before we do that, I'll show you the old breech seal what I fetched out. You can see that's pretty manky. Plastic sell-by date. That one came out of there. I've not got one, I've had to order one. I forgot to order it when I ordered the piston seals. But that can be fitted very easily when the gun's back assembled. As you can see, I've got both seals on, fitted on, the new ones. The old ones are leather, that's why they break down. They dry out and crumble. These are nylon. To get them on, they're quite stiff to put on actually. I put them in some boiling water, a cup of boiling water for a couple of 3 minutes. Makes them a little bit more pliable, a little bit of grease just on the inside, and get them trapped in a vice, something like that, then you can get the thumb and work them on, no problem. You can't mix them up, really. Well, you can, but the actual piston seal, you've got a groove around the outside. That's for the actual piston. The buffer seal, you've got like a well, it's got a recess. It's been recessed out, and you can't mix the pistons up either. You can see that that's that's actual piston, and that's the buffer piston. It's got a hole in the middle, so you can't really mix them up. Anyway, to start with, we need to take the piston tube, or the compression tube, and fit the piston inside it. So you get it just started like that. If you get a little crease, just got a screwdriver and gently push that down. That gets that in, and that goes that way in. Push that all the way forward. Just get a long screwdriver or something and make sure it's pushed all the way home. There we go. So that's that part. Now this can go back into the actual chamber of the gun. Before we do that, just make sure that there's a lever just here. Lift that up. Try to keep your thumb out of the way. There's a little arm there that's spring loaded. Pull that all the way back and let it sit like that, because if you don't do that, that part, the tube, will not pass it, and you'll be struggling for a while before you realise. There's also another arm here that we'll just need to lift up like that. So we'll get it started in there anyway. So it goes in there like that. Let's come to the first arm, which is stopping it. So all we do now is lift that arm, and that lets that slide all the way through. That slides all the way in. Like that. Now before you forget, because if you don't release this and you build the rest of the gun up, you'll come to cock it and it won't. You'll wonder what's wrong. Release that. Just lift that arm up. You can see that's gone back into its position. So do that before you go any further. Now we can fit the spring in. It just fits in like that. Then this tube, which goes that way round and that way up, that can slide That slides in there like that. Little twist. Push that. Just push that in till those holes line up. Like that. Let's see if we get some more light. So that lines up like that in there. Right. And this, the buffer, piston, slides onto the spring there, and that will go back in there. I'm going to have to put this back into the spring compressor to do that, so I'll get back to you once I've done that, because it's a bit cumbersome to actually try and do it on camera. Okay, so we've got the gun in the spring compressor. Next stage is to put these little cogs back in. Quite a fiddly job this can be. So remember we put the marks of the cog, and you've got the marks on the rack. Get those lined up. Drop that in. I can't really show you face on to the camera because the bloody part keeps dropping out otherwise. So we'll get that in there and try and line the hole up on the cog. Visually look at it, try and get it centre as you can, because the next stage is to get this cap on. These can be quite fiddly. They're extremely fine thread on these, so don't go forcing them to screw up. If you get cross threaded, you've ruined it. There's a peg there on the inside of that, and as you can see why we need to get the cog centre, because that's got to sit on in there once this is tightened up. So I'll do this one, and if you visually look at the cap, you get a good idea if it's sitting square. If it starts to screw down a bit, make sure to take those pegs out of the way for a minute. Very, very fiddly. There we go. So put those pegs back in there. Tool that I made earlier on. Just screw that up. A little bit more. You know it's gone in there. It's started to tighten up, so I'm going to back that off a couple of turns like that. So that's that one in. To line them up, you need to be able to back this up and forward your spring clamp. That gets everything lined up, so you can do each side. You can do each side individually. I'll turn that over. Get that spring out of the way. Keep it snug on the cloth. We'll turn that one over. You might just have to adjust the gap with a screwdriver, just work these racks around a bit. I can see that one I'm going to want screwing in a bit to line those marks up. Let's have a look at that. Like I say, I can't really tip this up too much, it's not very easy to get them in that way. Let's see how that lines up. Looks like it's going to be about right at that setting, so I'll open that gap up a bit more. Quite fiddly to do. Put that in the centre of that. Hold it in place and then see if we can get that just move around a bit. No. I'm going to do this off camera because it's going to take me probably a couple of minutes to get this this one in, and I'll come back to it. Okay, so we've got both the gears in. Took me about half hour in the end to do those. They're quite fiddly. What do I show you? When you've got the gun in the spring compressor, put a bit of packing at the back of this piston. I made that up, like there's a hole in there, so I made a bit of a pin up really out of a bit of nylon. Just spun it off on the lathe, but a couple of washes will do it really. Reason is, this piston needs to go in further than what it is there flush. And when that happens, it causes preload to go onto the spring, and it thinks it's being cocked. So this actual slide here, the compression chamber, starts to travel that way. Only about 5mm, that's all it needs, but it works the ratchet and it locks it in the position that it goes back to. So as soon as you've done that, take it out the spring compressor obviously, and get this cap on. Get the cap back on. You put the grub screw in, locking screw. Now the reason you want to get that back on is because you've got to release the tension on the spring now, because remember that slid back a bit, about 5mm, and to do that you've got to lift this arm up. It's on a spring, lift that up. This has already been done so it won't do it, but this arm then, push that forward and that'll allow that to shoot back forward. If you try to do that without that end cap on, that spring in there is under load and the back piston is, and it's going to come out like a rocket. So don't release that, whatever you do, until that end cap is back on. Okay, so now we can start fitting a few of the lesser components now. We start by joining these two bits up here with that small pin. It's quite fiddly, so I've got small fingers I suppose. There we go, that's got that in. Just hold that in place, and then there's a small C-clip goes on there. Push that back. With a screwdriver. Next, this spring you come up and that hooks over there into a hole just there. Look. Next, we can get the screw for the nut back in this side, which is going to go through here and come out there. It's got a big washer on that side, so that goes on there like that. There's a couple of small washers that go on there. So fiddly. That goes there like that. And the nut goes on there. Just pinch that with your finger. Tighten that up a bit. There we go, that's that. That slides there so it doesn't tighten right up. And then while we're still on this side, there's another little screw goes in here. In there. Do that up. Chap who's won this he's took it to two other gunsmiths apparently, who declined the job because they said that they were too fiddly, too involved to work on these 75s, and it came to me and I took it on because I do like a challenge. How was he going to learn? So that's those two in there. Well, a couple of springs that got to go on. There's these top and bottom holes there, corresponding holes there. That just hooks on there, some along those pliers. Pull that over onto that one. The same with that one. So that's those bits in. Right, so it's got those screws and springs are in. The next piece we need to get in is called the front hook. You see there's a hole there. It's going to go in there like into that hole there. It's easier to just slide that in like that. Just get something and pull that through to that line. Hole lines up nicely. To hold that in, there's just a pin. There's no clips to this. It's just a loose pin, and it drops in there like that. And that holds that piece in. That can keep sliding out, so I'll just get a bit of masking tape on that and put that around there. It's not going to get in the way of anything. Just put a bit of masking tape over it like that. If it'll stick. It's quite greasy actually. There we go. Just saves that keep falling out. Now inside here, there's a part that I've released it, but I haven't actually taken it out. It's called the rear hook. That's just flopping around in there. There's a hole in the rear hook that you've got to line up to that hole there. Comes all the way through. There's a pin. Looks like that. Showed you it when I took it apart. It's got a little piece that sticks out like that. That will go in that way. Let's just get some long nose pliers or something. And find the hole. Line them up. And get that lined up, and that drops in like that. Same thing, I think I'll put a bit of tape around that just to make sure that it doesn't keep flopping out. There we go. Just makes life easier. 2 springs to fit now. There's the rear spring, short one, and the front spring, the longer one, which is a lot stiffer. There's a cup in here. What that long spring's got to drop into. There's also a little nib on that front hook. And there's a lot of tension on this spring. We're going to get it back out there now. So damn fiddly. Just got that ended, so I can press that up. Use a thin screwdriver. There we go. That's got that one in. And there. Sorry I couldn't show you a better shot of that. It needs to be laying down to do it. Then we need to get this smaller one in here. There's 2 lugs, one at the top, one at the bottom. This should go in a lot easier, being a thinner spring. There shouldn't be as much tension. Oh, yeah. Let's put it on that way for a start, see if we can do it that way around. If at first you don't succeed, get somebody else to do it. Right, come on. 5th time lucky. Try something else. There we go. Right tool for the job, I suppose. So that's the 2 springs fitted. So now we can fit the trigger. Could be a little bit awkward to get in. At least to go under that hook. With a bit of persuasion it will go. Then we've got this arm, which goes on there like that. There's a roll pin that just pushes through both lots. Again, they're loose fitting, there's no C-clip or anything like that. The next piece we need to fit is this piece. It actually goes in that way, like that. Again, so just another loose pin, roll pin. Goes in, right from this side. Right, it's going to go in this side. Come on. So just push it enough to hold that part like that. I've not, you see, not pushed it right through, it's just literally inside that hole, because we've now got to get this spring on. Well, that spring is going to go in that way, so those two parts of the spring sit underneath that part, and at the back of that, like that. So you've got to hold that up while pushing back on the spring enough to get that hole to line up with the spring. There, gone. You see that there? That it's gone in there. That gives that action like that. Again, there's no clip that holds that roll pin on. It's just a loose fit. So what we can do now is put the cocking arm on. Get that the right way around. That should go in there. I might want a little bit of a tap just to get it down that hole. I'll just use a nylon hammer. There we go, that's got that in. Then just pop the pin in there. There we go, just like, do it like that, and then cock it. What we need to do then, you see that hole, just in here, if we've got that screw that we took out, that pin, that goes in there, the right screwdriver, just a solid screwdriver. We'll then screw in to the end of that pin. There we go. Hold that in place. We can push that forward. Right, so I'll take that pin out again there, lift that up. Then I've got two shim spacers that I've got to go in there. One there, one there. Try and work that down in there. Try it this way. Put that in there. Just a nylon hammer, not doing any damage. That's almost lined up at the top. That's too big. Let's try a smaller pin. Try and line that one up. There we go. Bit of wiggling around, get it lined up. There, that's got in. I'll load that now, then we can mess about with this shim. Yeah, thin blade. There we go. Making sure we don't slip and damage the blushing gun. Nearly gone. I might have to leave that open. There we go, that's got in. Then we've got a C-clip. Not quite gone through. There, that's got it. If in doubt, give it a clout. Push that C-clip on. There we go. This actual gun won't cock properly, it won't hold the cock. The reason being, that rear hook part is broke, there's a piece broke off of it. That's one of the problems. I can replace that, like, that's no problem. Get into that part. The problem is getting onto the part. Hopefully, like, we can get one. If not, we'll try mending it, try brazing it or something. Anyway, I'm not showing you how to put the stock back on because that's pretty obvious. So that's it basically. That's the strip down and the rebuild of a Diana stroke original 75, model 75. I hope it's been useful for you and you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it, so thanks very much for watching. Cheers now.